So, welcome to the Pass It On Network's monthly 50/50 conversation series. PION has been connecting positive aging advocates, or as we call them, pioneers, from more than 60 countries and 5 continents since 2013. That's 12 years ago. And as we intimated in our November 50/50, the world around us is fast moving in many directions, and much has changed since 2013. Not the least of all was the passing in May this year of our beloved co-founder, Jan Hively. We're now at a natural moment to reshape this network's vision for what's needed now and to honor Jan's legacy in a new way. The question isn't whether this matters, it's whether it matters to you. And that's what we intend to explore today with everyone in this room. And as Osnat has already said, please do tell us in the chat, if you haven't already done so, why it's important for you to be here today. And with that, I'm going to pass straight on to Osnat, who's going to lead us into this exploration. Thanks, Osnat.
Yes, thank you, Moira. Welcome back, everybody. It's December. We had a really interesting conversation in November, and we thought we might continue it today. First of all, I want to thank the parents of this conversation. We had a few calls to figure out what we wanted to say today. And first of all, I want to thank Moira Allen. And I want to thank Brian Pratt. I want to thank Jeff Rubin and Wayne Clancy, people who thought it was important for them to be here, not only today, but for the future of Pass It On Network. And we asked you before, so why was it important for you to be here today? And there are all kinds of answers here in the chat. Allison is saying it's my first time, and I'm curious about the topic of determining future direction. Catherine doesn't see the question, but my answer is to make sure that we are in an aging global community, know and support each other for doing. Josephine wanted to catch up. She hasn't been here in a while. And here is Jackie, because Jackie is always interested and always doing all kinds of other things. There's Verna, brainstorm with my friends, of course. And, oops, sorry. Multitasking is not a good idea. And share thoughts, ideas, experiences. You can go and look throughout, do a gallery tour through the chat, and you'll see that the people are here, the people who really care. As Moira said, it's not a question of whether this Pass It On network, aging, matters, whether it matters to us, whether it matters to you. And I want to set up a little bit of context here. We are a network, we're not an organization. So we've gone through some changes this year. We had 2 co-founders who were setting the tone, and we were following, and we were growing for 12 years, almost 13 right now. And now the world has changed. We're a little on a little plateau right now, and we're thinking, how can we take all the equity that we have in Pass It On Network and move our purpose, our mission, our vision, our force of pioneering into the future with Pass It On Network. If Pass It On Network is important, then this is why I'm here today. So I want to share a slide with you, which I should find very soon here. What you're seeing here is how networks work. And we have some kind of let's look at the central point. It's a coral. It's a coral reef. Coral never grows from a central point, really, because corals kind of go and sideways and care about the next coral next to them, and before you know it, there's a whole colony. But there are all kinds of participants. There are all kinds of ways to interact. I use the metaphor of fish because it's very fluid. People, depending on what is happening to them, sometimes get to be more active. Sometimes they come occasionally. Some people, maybe it's the first time, or they are shy, or they are kind of trying to see when's the right moment. They stay as observers. And then we have the people outside that everybody here is connecting to. Maybe they're sponsors, maybe there are other networks that are not integral to the network that we are part of. In fact, all of us are doing all of that all at the same time. So I'd like to ask you to kind of look at this and just for yourself, put yourself somewhere there on you don't have to share it. It's just a thinking point. Put yourself somewhere there, whether you are a steward, whether you're active, occasional observer, or maybe you're just visiting here. Yeah. So where are you personally on the map? Just keep it in mind. Today, we have a small core coral stewards, and we'll come back to stewards a little bit later. It's not judging, it's just noticing. This is our snapshot of today. We're kind of curious of today, what we want to do today. We're curious about where we'll be going, we'll be going from here. How can we have more stewards, more active people to help Pacific Network move into 2030, 2035? But let's stick to the next 2-3 years. By the end of this call, we'll probably figure out how can we all be stewards for the coral and make it grow. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Yeah. Moira said, what will matter to you? I think, what was it? The question was not whether it matters or whether it matters to you. And the it, once here we come back to what is the it in Pacific Network. So let's look at the it that we have today. I'm going to put a poll on the screen, and you can choose up to three topics that you think will matter in the next 5 years, whether they'll matter to you or they'll matter to the world. And this list, by the way, is the top 10 based on this. Thank you, Brian, for coming up with that, based on the WHO, ARP, and other organizations that keep an eye on what are the trends in the world. And this is the top 10 in no particular order. So I'm going to put a poll on the screen. Here's a poll. I'm going to launch it, and we'll take, can you see the poll? Mm-hmm. You can, okay. Can you see the results? Mm-hmm. Okay, what are we seeing here?
Strong reducing ageism and purpose and learning.
Yeah. Okay.
Brain health.
This is interesting. These are all worthy goals, and none of them are new to us. And it's also likely that many of you are already working on 1, 2, or more of them. And what are we seeing here? Any thoughts about what we're seeing here?
One of the things you're seeing is we're reducing ageism in society and workplace. and purpose, learning, and social connection go hand in hand, for one. And then the second highest is dealing with brain health and lower dementia risk. I'm wondering if that is a subset of the overall health, but that is a significant piece of the pie. But what I was surprised at is the only 7% responded to financial security.
Interesting. Catherine?
I think if you to ask that question in Africa, you'd get a very different response.
Yes. True.
Catherine, what's
It's true. I saw the breakout into health issues and issues related to isms of all sorts. We're intersectional, of course. And I just want to make sure, because I'm one of those people who's kind of a connector, as you know, and I sort of dip in and out of lots of different networks. And just to make sure you folks know that the International Federation on Aging, not only, I don't know why it's getting reverberation, somebody's got two systems going. But anyway, if you can hear me, they've concentrated very heavily in the last decade or two on health issues. So if that's something that you think is of interest to us, I would definitely suggest you get in touch with them because they have vast years of experience, people on their board who relate to all those issues, including brain health. Age-friendly cities, that's one that they have under their responsibilities. They have let go the person who did a fabulous job on that. I'm sort of the one most passionate about age-friendly cities. So if that's something that folks are interested in, I'm happy to share over beyond what our network here has been doing. Thanks.
Thank you, Catherine. Maybe you could put some links in the chat too, or how to connect with you. I'm going to stop sharing right now. Just keep in mind what we have here. We have reducing ageism in society and workplace, purpose, learning, and social connections, and then brain health and lower dementia risk, and maybe, as Jeff suggested, also bundle it with health and chronic disease care.
Yeah, I do have a comment here to make, though. When you look at these, in many ways, they're interconnected. And I also am very deeply involved in age-friendly communities. And you know, one of the comments that I've shared with a number of people is when you look at a community through the lens of an elder, everybody benefits. But the reality is, an age-friendly community is one that provides many of the things that are listed here. So if you look at what you might be focusing your energies on, look at how it relates to some of the other things that are listed. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
Asnat, it's Verna. I can't find my little hand to raise.
Okay, go ahead.
I agree with Jeff. It's very important to me, financial security, but I also put in health, community, and ageism, and I felt that really was part of all of those three things, that you can incorporate it in other areas. So that's why I left it out.
Well, there's so many things to mind and to care about. And I thought instead of just talking, let's just go into small breakout rooms and just have a smaller conversations. Sometimes we see things very clearly because we're so close to the people we work with, to the issues we care about. And I heard it here more than once that decision and policymakers, those people there in the abstract, don't seem to understand any of it. When we finally see some kind of a policy or a decision or a direction coming from government, say, where did they learn that stuff? And maybe there's some kind of a gap. So what I propose that we do in the next 10 minutes, we're going to do a couple of these. So we'll go into a breakout room of 10 minutes. Group discussion, 3 to 4 people. We are here 20 people. So yeah, about 3 to 4 people. Please stay. I know breakout rooms sometimes intimidating, but please stay because it's going to be fun. It's going to be intimate. And we're going to look at the question of what's happening in your community or in your country. I would say community. Let's make it really close to us. That decision makers need to understand about aging, but currently they do not. What is standing in the way? What kind of hurdle is there in the way for them hearing about it? So I'm going to put this question in the chat, so it will follow you into the breakout room. Brian is setting up the breakout room for 10 minutes.
Yes.
What is it? What is it that's happening in your community? And you have an
Oh,
impatient
there is so
community.
much excitement in my life.
No. So, but this is not necessarily what's happening there, but what's happening that decision makers don't hear.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've been working as a partner with the medical community and our medical university campus. And you see so much ageism in medicine, and some people have just given up. But we have a wonderful multidisciplinary center on aging, and they literally have set up little incubators for baby doctors. And they are teaching them all about age and ageism. And they have programs, which I belong to, where they link older people and pre-med students. And it's just so encouraging. And I'm starting to see doctors who are so sensitive to patients and culture and language. And so I'm feeling very optimistic that we can remove those obstacles.
Okay. And you're in Denver, right? And Denver is actually quite progressive.
It is.
What do you think Denver does not get about all this?
What Denver doesn't get? Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I've been working in resident-directed communities for a long 12 years at least, and others have been working for decades. And we still cannot get across that residents really can direct their homes in a really healthy, productive way. And I'm trying to figure out what the obstacles are. So anybody has any thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is the obstacle? How would you find obstacles?
Well, I talk to people, and a lot of people are afraid to let go, administrators and so on. They think, we'll start running around like wild cats, and we being residents of an aging community. And some people cannot get past that control issue. And, I think we have to talk about leadership style.
But can you give an example of the control issue? What types of things would you say?
Well, for example, in many traditional communities, you have programming staff and they set up the sessions and invite people to come and so on. And then they get very upset if nobody comes, after they do all this hard work. Well, Claremont, we basically, when there's a need, we simply let Andrew know. We'll just say, do you have an open Thursday? We're going to start a new book club, and et cetera, et cetera. And we direct it, facilitate it, send out announcements, and so on. So we do a lot of the work of the staff here, actually, but we choose what we want. And that, and we don't have any problems with people coming because we're doing exactly what we're interested in. So, and it's just, I just live with joy every day in this community, and I can't seem to help anybody to find that type of community. Anyway, so working on it. I haven't given up yet.
Is it a cooperative type thing between organizations and maybe the community at large, like the municipality and things like that? Or how does that work as far as the different groups Is there cooperation or collaboration, or is it just one group, you think?
Well, yeah, for example, there's been a lot of interest here in stars and the aurora. We can see it here, and but we're in the city and we don't have access to it, and blah blah blah. So we just said to Aaron, who's one of our life enrichment people, we really need to connect with the observatory and let's get moving, and we can move to the next step of maybe a trip out in the country to see the stars. And it's happening. I mean, we've already got the observatory set up to speak, and then we'll be out looking at the stars, and then we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
So everybody's
Yeah.
going to come back in 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do all the talking.
No,
Oz,
that's okay.
yeah, so Osna, one quick thing I want to mention to you. There's an organization that we have a group with.
Well,
It's called
started
Catalyst
the
Group.
conversation.
And so I just want to remind you to tell you about the Catalyst Group about aging and health span.
Oh,
So
Yeah, Brian, maybe that's another opportunity to also put something in the chat, because the chat will
yeah.
be shared with everybody afterwards. So some people were baited by the blue button.
Oh,
Blue button gives you another at least
I
30
didn't know that.
seconds.
We were in mid-sentence. Actually, Dieter and I had gotten involved in a whole discussion about housing and how, instead of looking at what hasn't worked in the past, there's so many good examples. And I'll put in the chat, there's an excellent bi-weekly webinar series on solutions around the world,
Okay.
such issues. So I'll put that in here.
Are we still here? Yeah, so so the young kids, they cannot afford to have their own house, the families, so they live with their parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Okay,
they're changing zoning, so you're getting those ADUs, those little things that can be in backyards, so the parents can move, or the widow, if it turns out to be often the mother who's still around.
Yeah.
She can live in that, and then the family that needs more space can live in the family house that she's vacated. But I take millions of notes everywhere, and there's so many. I think we should concentrate on sharing solutions, because we all know what the problems are.
Yeah, Catherine, what an interesting point that you're saying, and I'm park it, because we'll come back to this.
Okay.
We're going to go into another breakout room, but before we there, I just take a minute and put in the chat, because we cannot record every single breakout room. So just put in the chat, what kind of hurdles, what kind of barriers are they for the city administrators, for the government administrators, that they did not hear those solutions, those local conversations. So just use the chat and put something there that came out of your conversation, so we can capture it. Knowing what the hurdles are is a good way into the solution that Catherine is speaking about, and maybe we can also find something we haven't thought about as far as hurdles happening. Yeah, so if you spoke about any kind of barriers for the local information to get to decision makers that you wish they knew when they make decisions, and you spoke about it in your class, in your breakout room, just put it there, because that's the only way right now that we can harvest it, so it doesn't just stay in the room. It is shared with all of us, and we can use it to move forward. I see knowledge of aging population. Many large issues occupy attention, huge pressure on national budget. Too many people see the difference between the different generations rather than considering both, oops, I lost it, the similarities and differences that can be leveraged and appreciated. What else did we see here? Concepts about aging needs to be more specific, more What else? Any other barriers? Any other barriers that we can overcome? Change in political administration, little coordination within city departments. Goes back to what you were saying, Catherine. How do we circumvent this? How do we make them know about the things that really matter to us during those 2 years or 3 years or whatever time that they're in the administration, so they can actually make decisions that make a difference?
Well, the only answer I heard recently, which was interesting, coming from longtime civil society activists at the UN, is we have concentrated on trying to persuade government officials of our points of view. And the person who said that said, forget it. They come and go, they change. It depends whether it's their interest. What we really need to do, and that's what this network offers, is focus on civil society, coordination, collaboration, and pressure.
Yeah. And there are many ways to do it because we all come from different backgrounds, and we may need to discuss together what are the many different ways that we can actually, I'm going to use this word, steward this cause. I want to just pause here and move to the next question, because that it goes a little bit what you were saying, Catherine. In PION, PION can be so resourceful because we have so many people that are coming from important point of views and circles of influence, whether it's your own community or larger than that. We have authors, we have advocates, we have activists, we have professors in universities, we have people who work with young people and with older people. So we have a lot of leverage here in the network. And this is very powerful when we want to remove barriers. So now I want to take you on a trip into the future. Imagine not 10 years from now, not 5 years from now, 2 years from now. What is PION like? We want to see a thriving PION and energized, making a real impact, the same way we have been, and now we have an opportunity to re-energize ourselves and attract people of all ages, younger than us too, because we need to be a network for all ages in order to impact the life of all ages. And so in 2 years, we are that kind of a network. What is it that we're doing differently? What is it what changed for us? What is it that we are doing differently as Pass It On Network members, as Pass It On Network stewards? So we're going to go for another 10 minutes. The question is in the chat. Imagine Pass It On Network in 2 years, thriving, energized, making a real impact, and attracting passionate people of all ages, younger and older. What changed? What are we doing differently? And when we come back, I'd ask you to once again put it in the chat so we can harvest it together. Verna, just to save time, since you're here and we were already a breakout room, what do you see 2 years in? What has changed?
I see
what were you doing differently as a network?
I see us finding models that work, partnering with them, learning from them, and moving from conversation to serious action.
Yeah.
So would you say, Verna, would be a multi-generational hub and spoke for information and having actionable models to connect with?
Oh gosh, Brian, I'm working with an actionable model right now of cross-generational. It's a joy. And I know when people feel that joy, it's going to expand.
Yeah.
Hi, Collins.
Hello.
Yeah. Hey, are you still there in the cold zone? Yeah.
No, I'm now in Uganda.
in Uganda.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
good to see you again. Did you catch that question that we were asking?
Yeah, I had the question asking about where we see PION in the next 2 years.
After 2 years, yes. So we,
Yeah.
we see PION in 2 years as a thriving, making real impact and everything. So the question that we asked is, what changed? And what are we doing differently than what we're doing today? And you've been with us not a very long time, so I'm curious to hear what are your observations?
Um, I've actually been with PION since 2023.
Ah,
Yeah. But maybe I was just in the background. I wasn't so active and talking a lot, but I was always listening in. And I think this year mainly, we've had more younger people joining PION.
mhm.
So we are having um, more we are having more intergenerational inclusion.
Yeah. So do you think that continuing this trend, is this something that um, will take us towards where we want to be in 2 years?
I think so because more young people are being interested in the conversations to do with aging as it is right now. So I think if we to push out more of PION and make it more known to people across all ages, we are going to have more membership, and then we have more people being on the purpose which PION is trying to achieve.
Yeah. And what do you think this purpose is?
Um, I perceive that we are trying to create um, an environment that is favorable for older persons, but also having an input of people from across all generations. So we are looking at a lifespan across the lifespan as well.
So a lifespan approach,
Yeah.
for people who will be older people and for people who are
Yes.
already old people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So these continue to come in. Uh, eh,
I,
Brian,
I think he's making a very good point. I
yeah,
think
Yeah.
longevity can be the point at which we meet because younger people have to make decisions about those many extra years that are going to be in their life and how they want to shape them. And that's just a great conversation opener. And really, it's a beautiful way to come together, I think. What do you think, Collins?
Yes, it's the goal because everyone is trying to live longer. So
Yeah.
the earlier you start the conversation on how to have a good and active aging,
Mhm.
the earlier you start, then the better it is for
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the earlier you start is you have a much more foundational build,
Mhm.
right? Rather than getting into the middle or towards the end where you can't adjust accordingly. So, yeah, Collins, you're definitely on the right track in that regard.
What's that word?
Oh, Colabovism rather than active.
Colabovism.
oh, nice.
Colabovism.
Yeah.
Brian and I have talked about, and Jeff have talked about this, is
Colabovism.
collaborate towards greater ones. Activism gets people defensive
Right.
because it's to aggressively go after something, whereas collabovism, which is a word that I own, by the way, collabovism is to collaborate. And what organization or community wouldn't want to have a collabovist? They don't want an activist, but they want a collabovist, somebody whose job is to get people working together. And that's kind of the vision of the word. And I'd love to work it in with some of the work we do because people actually they kind of get what it means pretty quickly. It's funny when I tell people about it. Oh yeah, Colabovism. It's not
Yes,
activism, it's Colabovism, right?
Please write it in the chat so we get the spelling correct.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll put that in
there's something else.
and the
I'm sorry.
definition I have too, just so you have that.
So there's something else I'd like to invite you to write in chat. I'll do it. We'll take 1 minute to do it. So write, please. What would you like to see within the next 2 years created with Paciton Network that will make that network, our network, thriving, energized, making an impact that maybe is not there today. So we were not in your breakout rooms. So if you came out with some really interesting ways, interesting methods to do that, please put it in the chat so we can harvest it and keep it and share it with everybody. We'll take 1 minute to do this. And Jeff?
Yeah, I would ask if Catherine and Mary Jo could share just a little bit of what we talked about, because it really comes, I thought, to the heart of the matter, and what would be I would think is the layout of a vision for the next 2 years. Does any of Catherine?
I'll jump in because I took notes, and it was really, there are 3 issues that came up. One was what you were just talking about, how to be connected, and Jeff was saying maybe we could use our network as a sort of test with AI to find out who has what talents, what are their experiences, what are their particular issues of interest. I brought up the fact that from my experience being a very active political social activist, people got burnt out, but they never got burnt out with their one passionate issue. So my dream would be to have a collaboration across the board with all the different networks dealing with aging issues, and there are a lot of them, to ask their people with an agreed, like what you did before with the list of the key issues that we wanted to consider, ask each group to come up and see where there's commonality, and then end up planning stuff so that if it were about health issues, different people in different networks would get together and work on it using the resources of their own networks to combine efforts. And then let me see, I think that was it. And Mary Jo, you asked why aren't we electronically connected? And Jeff was then asking about or suggesting AI.
AI is the answer for all of our issues these days.
You give up your private information and everyone would be able to hack it. That's the problem.
That's right. Well, you know, I just, so if you still have some other suggestions of what is it that will make the difference between now and 2 years from now, please continue to put them in the chat. I'm seeing a few things there, and a couple of things that I heard also is that when we say all ages, we need to expand our age range. Collins and Isaac have been here for a while. But we need to see more people because we are talking here about all ages. And the other thing is that that I noticed also from before is that decision makers and policy makers don't stay in their position long enough to have a memory of what it is that is actually happening on the ground. I mean, they get elected based on some topics and some issues, but they don't stay long enough to actually follow up on that. So that's a big hurdle. Catherine, what we just articulated is that even though we are a network, the networking aspect needs to cross the boundaries that we have, and we need to have members connect with other good doers, NGOs, other associations, other networks, and find out where points of collaboration can happen, where can we get our forces joined. And I'm looking here at the chat, focus on common shared values. Thank you, Wayne. Closer connection to assure full implementation of sustainable development goals. Thank you, Jack. What else do we have? Multi-generational hub and spoke community, Brian says, where actionable information and models circulated seamlessly across goals-driven special interest groups. That's a mouthful, and maybe later we can think about it a little bit more. And Tom is saying create structures that would provide opportunity for smaller group meetings. I guess what you're saying within the larger context, so more cross-pollination, get to know the strength in our network, says Moira, intergenerational all the way. I'm putting just like just the top points. Network members actively working on project challenges and concern that are interests of people regardless of their age. And Josephine says, I'd like to see more information out in the media to address the senior needs and what fulfills them. That's my own opinion since lost first partner on Zoom. Yeah, oh well, Zoom has its own peculiarities. So imagine AI. You know, all these things will not happen by accident. I was showing you before the model of the coral, and the coral is where things grow, and things grow with the coral. The coral gives life to all of its ecosystem, and we, Paciton Network, are a coral, and if we don't take care of it, if we don't keep the water clean, the fish community there, then it's not going to grow. And it's the same thing for Paciton Network. We need to understand who is the we. There are a lot of ideas here, and each idea needs some kind of a steward. Steward is somebody who takes care of an issue. It doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be of all issue. It doesn't have to be done alone. But it needs, watering every once a week. It needs a connection. Maybe there are 2 stewards or 3 stewards or 4 stewards. We're a network for one idea. Finding out, as Catherine said, what do other organizations and network do that cannot be done just by one person going to each organization, that calls all of us to steward that collection. We said before, we want to have stories of our local communities so we can impact what decision makers, even though they're there maybe for a short period of time, to create some kind of a community memory that can bring it up again and again and again, that decision makers and policymakers can make decisions that really impact positively the community. That needs collection of these stories. That means putting them all in a place where if you need them, you can take them out of there and go to your local elected official and do it, and impact what they're thinking. So stewards, the concept of stewards is somebody who takes care of something the network needs. And I am, I can give you a few more examples, but I'm more interested in asking, what are you willing to steward? Something that is small, doesn't require special permission, something that we just said the network needs, that you could do once, twice, collaborate with somebody else, do it together. Maybe it's not just in your community, maybe Paul in Florida and Verna in Denver can get a conversation and say, we're going to collect 5 stories a month from put them in a place where everybody can access them, for example. So the ask for you right now is put in chat or raise your hand for what kind of things you're willing to steward for Pass It On Network, that in 2 years, we're going to be that network that we were just dreaming about. And I'll start with Tom.
It strikes me along that line that rather than proposing to steward something here, that if Pass It On Network would create kind of an archive showing, because each of the individuals in on these meetings is really stewarding already something in their area. And if you could create that, then we could take a look at that and select how we want to collaborate with somebody in an area that might be either related or perhaps a new area that we'd like to get into. But there needs to be a sort of a compiling of that list, I think.
I'm struck by something you said, Tom. You said, if you can create it, we'll get there. And I want to rephrase it and say, if we can create this, we, all of us, then everybody can get there. Just a different way of saying the same thing, perhaps. Jeff.
I would just have to say, based upon the two groups that I was part of today, that there is a certain kinship or a admiration for the Pass It On Network and the work that Moira and Jan has done for the past 12 years. So I get the sense that the people on this call were not necessarily here to say, well, why should I be part of this? But they say, we are part of this. Now, where can we take this and what makes sense to move forward? Now, there are two things here. Moira and Osnat have been taking the lead in putting together the monthly 50/50s and what have you. And we all know, based on our own work, that we do yeoman work and it's more than any one person can do. But the question is, if this has value to people, then they want to do what they can do to support it. That said, before we got on the call, Osnat made a suggestion, and I think it's a great suggestion, that based upon what has come out today, which is some excellent thoughts and ideas, that we use the next meeting in January to give Wayne Clancy and Brian Platt an opportunity to present their vision of what they think they can do to help us achieve many of the things we're talking about today. I genuinely believe that these guys can put us in a better position to focus on the issues we want to focus on, build the collaborative model we want to create so that we can maximize opportunity and be seen as a true force for passing information along that is usable, that is needed and expected as part. If I join the Pass It On Network, I'm part of a collaboration of 60 countries of people who are committed to positive aging and changing the way we look at age globally. Wow. Okay, where do I sign up? I want to be part of this. I want to know what I can do to help Isaac and what Isaac can do to help me. And how do we get younger people involved? I mean, there are all sorts of people that we all know that could benefit from being part of this group. And so I would say, let's not, jump to the what can you do next or what can you do to be a steward. This is just my opinion. I'm just saying, let's not say I got to be a steward yet. Listen to what these two guys have to say. And then I think you'll have a whole different perspective on what's possible. But
Brian and I have had some great conversations. So We're excited about bringing some of these things to the group with his platform and work and ours. And we just think there's a way of really leveraging this group and then inviting so many others to help support it and get them excited about doing that.
And I will say that Catherine had brought up the idea of how do we share information and ideas with other agencies and organizations, and then you have turf issues, and I don't want to give up what I built, and I don't want to share with you, whatever. You know what? I think if it makes sense and they see that it works, they'll want to be part of it. Then why would you not want to be part of it? Years ago, I was involved in nonprofits where they were all fighting for a shrinking piece of the pie and saying, well, if you get out of the way, then I can get more money. Wait a minute. I'm not going to give up what I'm doing, nor should I. So how do we build upon this in a way that people feel heard, appreciated, and that we're not dealing with petty issues such as turf and territorial issues? We know what our objective is. We know what our goal is to change the mindset of how we look at age. So I think we have every opportunity based upon the people in this room to make that happen. And as we're talking, I think about Jack Kupperman, who's on the call, and his who founded the Gray Panthers. It was Maggie Kuhn. They didn't go gently into that good night. Now, I'm not advocating for us to be rebel rousers per se, but I do feel that people are saying enough's enough. It's time that we do something to have impact. And
wow, what great words, Jeff. I maybe we'll hear from Verna and from Tom very briefly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then we're going to wrap up formally and continue for another 15 minutes. So Verna, go ahead briefly, and then Tom.
I really do support what Jeff is saying. I think we have some very healthy discussions here. I think we're getting restless. We need to move to action. And I think one way is after a conversation, rather than just let it float up to the heavens, say, what did we just learn? What's the next step? And how do we move this to action? And I think if we keep that in our head, that, okay, where do we go from here? We're not just going to float around. And I just think it really, we're feeling it. I can feel it. It's almost tangible that we are ready to move, and I feel it can be a really good, very active year next year.
Wow. Thanks, Verna. Tom?
Let me try to be brief on this, because what comes to mind is the effort that a group of us went through about 3 or 4 years ago, where we had essentially tried to put together a structure that would enable PION to become a formal organizational in the form of a 501c3. And we spent a year doing a lot of things which I think have contributed to what PION has been able to accomplish going forward. But at the end of that year, what was realized was that PION, the founders and the members, did not want to become a formal organization with a board of directors and a president focusing on narrow objectives. It wanted to remain a network. And I think that is the power, because it brings people together. But in a sense, the 50-50 meetings held every month are kind of like having a conference every month, bringing together people to discuss general things and learn from each other. And the question I think that underlays, at least in my own perspective, of what the future of PION is, to continue doing what it does as a network, not to try to launch specific initiatives, because with the number of people involved and the breadth of interest, that just does not work. And that's why in my suggestion, I suggested some, and I have no specific form for it, but putting together something that would allow a small group of people to go off and focus on a specific topic and then develop that, bring it back in some form, perhaps at a 50-50 meeting or something like that. If that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Always bringing in the insight that we're looking for. Actually, combined with what Verna was saying, there are two things here. One is let's wait eagerly for next month to learn more about what are the infrastructures that we can build to allow what Tom is saying, a side conversation, a point of collecting all the memories of the network and using it forward. And also what Verna was saying, action now. For example, right now, knowing what we're going to cover in January, invite more people to come and experience Aceton Network. I'm speaking also to Collins and Isaac. Invite more people of your generation to come here. I know that you are passionate about, you work with the older adults. But older adults is just one part of the population, and we need more people who are like you, are interested in their own future eldership, and also ones who are new to that, to come and get energized with what can be done across generation, as Colin said, lifespan approach. And so I encourage you to start doing it. So next month, we're not going to be here 19 people. We're going to be here 45, 50 people. Spread the message, learn the tools, get going. 30 days is a long time to not to do anything specific. And you know, this is an opportunity for us to also reflect today and reflect between now and then. As Verna said, what have we learned from this? What have we learned individually from this conversation today? And what are we bringing with us as a result of it to our community and to Paciton Network? And you know, we're Paciton Network, and we started with Jan Hively, who passed away in this past May, and Moira Allen, who's happily with us, intact. And what we're looking right now is building on that, not creating, not substituting a Jan, not putting everything on Moira's shoulder. We are now expanding. We are now, even though the term stewardship maybe is not all-encompassing, but we are looking now for everybody to steward Paciton Network and make it what we want it to be in 2 years, that thriving, exciting network that reaches everywhere and helps create impact everywhere. I just want to, I know there's so much to say. I'm going to give the last 2 minutes to Moira and then close formally, and then we'll stay here for another 15 minutes to get everything else that didn't get said.
Thank you, Osnet. I'm just excited. I think this has been a most wonderful exchange that we've had, and I've learned a new word and a new concept from Wayne about Colabovism. And I really think that this is the way to go, is to, and I liked so much what Tom said about carry on doing what we are doing, but amplifying it, because that's what it's all about. And I think the heart of everything is the people. And we have such extraordinary people in our network. And we just need to, you know, you just look around the screen. We've got Dana here, who's been doing her memory training around the world. We've got Paul Ward, we've got Collins, we've got Carol, we've got Jackie Stark, Catherine, just everybody's doing wonderful work around the world. And what we need to do is to collaborate more, to work on on knowing each other. And I think this is a point that Jackie Stark has brought up on several occasions. We just do not really know the depth of the resources that we have in our network. And I think this is what we're going to be doing next year as well, is having special sessions where people can just talk about their what they're doing and where they are, so that we know each other, so that if we think of something, we know who we can go to. And the contact sheet that we've been building up is there exactly for that. So I'm thrilled to end this last 50-50 session in December, and with the whole idea of going into 2026 with new ideas, and new ideas that we're going to develop and work on, and really develop in depth, because we do need to do that. And the challenge is absolutely enormous, and the challenges that we face in the world today are completely age blind. Climate doesn't care whether you're 88 or 8 months. Hunger is the same thing. All of these huge challenges that the world is facing are age blind. And we just need to work intergenerationally. And then just a final thing about the intergenerational is we have so much we need each other. And I need young people to help me with my tech stories, and maybe they need something from us. And there's just stop the segmentation of our society into tiny little bits, and work together as a community, a worldwide community, to fight these awful, enormous challenges that we have in every direction. So thank you, everybody. I'm very pleased.
I have a mundane ask here. We ask at every opportunity we can. This Zoom, the Gazette, the communication that we are able to send through our MailChimp, these all, the website and operating it, these all right now are costing us about $2,500 a year, which sounds like a small fee, except as a network, we don't have membership. So all the money comes from private pockets. Please go to to our website and donate whatever you can, whether it's $5, $20, $50, $1,000. This is all going to help and will not come from private pockets. And really appreciate this. I'm going to put a link in the chat. And now we're going to move into the last 12 minutes of our call. And I think, Brian, you had your hand up.
So you said something that was very important, that we have 30 days is a long time in between things. And Tom said that there's a lot of different activities that are going on, that we don't want to necessarily have a central focus, but maybe something a little bit more decentralized where these ideas can be incubated and grown. So it also ties into what Wayne had said. It was having a collabovistic view. How's that, Wayne? A collabovistic view
I like
on
it.
how we look at things, and then be able to have a vehicle or mechanism to report on these things based upon people's interest, so that people who can grab on that interest and grow. And that's where Pass It On Network can be that hub and spoke. There's tons of information out there, but how do you organize it in the way that becomes actionable and proactive? And so places where I can get involved and get touch and say, hey, we're actually doing things that are really achieving something that's making a difference. Either am I taking an idea that's come from another part of the network that I can apply locally, and then being able to say, hey, we got to benefit from that. Let's see if we can take that and apply it to another community in another part of the world that we can use locally and help it grow. That's where this information hub and spoke really comes into play. But if you take this collabovistic approach by creating, Wayne and I have a little side conversation, which is having a collaborative interest groups, and to be able to do these little mastermind teams, to be able to develop these ideas and have it available to folks that are part of the network. to help this grow. I think that would help in addressing some of Tom's things that he brought up in his observations. What do you think, Tom? Feel free, Tom, to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I was donating, so I was doing something.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree exactly with what you said, Brian.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm hearing more and more.
Anyone
Yeah.
else? Maybe what did you learn today from this conversation?
Dana.
Dana, you are on mute. Dana, you're on unmute
muted.
yourself, please.
All
right.
There we go.
Me now?
Yeah.
So, what Tom said was that we should offer our potential for the network, that could be about something real, about something that would have an impact. And so I think that we should start there what we know, what we can do. And I am the memory trainer, so I thought that maybe I could offer online memory training classes to pass it on network members. That could help to everyone, because we all are already in advanced age, and maybe some of you feel that it is somehow the deterioration of your memory is an inevitable part of the aging, but it is not, because we can compensate a lot. So if that would be an interest, so it would be some real work, not only talks about big goals, but something that you would work on, and maybe learn something, and you could share it with people around you in your community. How do you like it?
Love it, Dana. And I want to say, not all of us are in advanced stage, and memory training is probably very useful for people who are studying now for advanced degrees, and or like Isaac and Collins, and they could probably use also training in how to remember more, and share it with all of their other friends. So yeah, this will be great, and then I will contact you separately to find a way to do this.
But I will be not with you in January, because I am going to Singapore first, and Laos and Vietnam, and then I will be giving a course, 6-day course for trainers, Czech trainers. So it means that I will be not able to attend, this network in January, but in February I will be back.
Yeah, that's great. As you know, everybody, we record these sessions and they're available on our YouTube channel. This one will be available toward the end of the week with a post session highlights letter. Yeah, any other thoughts, any other reflections? What did you learn today as a result of this conversation? Or anything else?
I just think it's a great group, and I'm so looking forward to working with everyone and getting some great results.
Yeah.
Asna, I'm going to experiment a little bit. I'm working with University of Colorado Aging Center here. It's multidisciplinary. And they have amazing pre-med students, as I've mentioned. And now they have a geriatric therapy, psychology program. So I'm just going to offer an open invitation and say, if you just very relaxed, it's global, if you just want to listen in and get a sense of what's going on. So it's worth a try.
Great. Thank you, Verna. I think if we can all say to people we know, I know people who say, I don't know what to do with my Monday mornings once a month. I've been inviting people here because if nothing else, just to hear all the accents and to see all the faces and hear all the universal concerns and maybe some solutions is enough to energize somebody to try to do more. And maybe they don't know where to start. And with the help of Brian and Wayne, we could offer them something that is more, let's say, not passive, but something that is easier to get into and start the journey wherever you are. Any other thoughts? We're 4 minutes. Might as well say something. Moira.
May I have a plug for our open houses? Once a month we have open house sessions. So you can, if anybody shows any interest, you can invite them to go to the website and register. So it's 7:00 the next day following this session, and at night for Europe and Africa, and 7 a.m. Yeah, I have to get up at that time. 7 a.m. in the morning for Asia. So the link is on our website, and that's an easy way to get somebody involved.
Well, I would build on this, that this open house, if somebody comes and they're not from the network, would be nice to have other people from the network to give them another perspective. So join Moira in those calls to welcome other people who are either new or potential to the network.
Happy holidays, everyone. Happy New Year.
Holidays,
Stay healthy.
Jackie.
All the
Jeff?
best wishes around the world.
Yes, I agree. Happy holidays.
Yes.
Happy holidays to everyone.
Yes. Best wishes for the holidays to everyone.